Welcome to the Friends and Rivals podcast.
While you're on the shitter, just take a peek on Twitter.
Let's talk Devils and Islanders, let's talk Penguins and Rangers, but let's not talk about Flyers, cause they're a bunch of fucks, which no one can deny.
Another episode of Friends and Rivals podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Tom Harkis. Joining me, as always, are
Steven Wojtowicz,
Bill Fougere,
Nick Larita.
No question this week, Nick?
He's sure this time.
Positive. So we are recording this on Tuesday night. Rangers Devils are in the third period. Rangers are down by 2. Billy is engrossed in the Pens Caps game. So Nick, let's go to you.
what are you talking?
Yes, since the Islanders aren't playing tonight.
And Nick, fill up 20 minutes. Go.
Yeah, go. Let's talk about the first 3 games from the Islanders. You just go to town.
Jesus. All right. Well, give me my podium.
I heard Nancy Pelosi's podium's on eBay somewhere still.
Whack, whack. And don't worry, when there's a commercial, we'll chime in.
Yeah,
Like
that works.
right now.
That works. Sorry for all the edits you're going to have to do, Steve. This is going to be a bad one. Recap. Islanders had 3 games this week. No real player movements. Just really the games were the major piece. I mean, going from 0 games to 3 games in a week was quite a difference, I got to say, in terms of just preparing for, the show and also just for basically getting back into watching hockey on a regular basis, just trying to find the time to do it. So now the first 2 games against the Rangers, no problems. Those games are always great games. I'm always going to try and find time. Yesterday, I ended up watching only the third period of the game, of the game against the Bruins, and I caught up on the first 2 periods after dinner tonight. So we got there. But anyway, to the games. Isles Rangers game 1 was a interesting game. Isles came out not super sharp, but came out a lot sharper than the Rangers, in my opinion. And
No
Tom
argument.
will probably win.
No argument here.
I think that's a fact.
But I think they were struggling both, and we'll talk about this a little later on. What Steve texted out today about the puck tracker.
Yeah.
But I don't think the ice was really good at all.
No, that was the first thing I noticed right away was the puck was bouncing everywhere, or everyone was just having a real hard time with the puck. And typically that's not the case. I mean, it's the first game of the year, but really these guys are professionals, and the puck was really like in everyone's skates and just like popping off their sticks. It was like sloppy.
Sorry, Nick.
Oh, we got a goal.
Sorry, Nick.
Don't ever let that happen again. Nobody gets excited about a goal on this podcast.
Jeez.
Young Phil Hedl, man. Come on, baby. 4-3, 13 minutes to go.
That was a nice one. All right. So anyway, puck was everywhere. Ice was pretty shitty. I actually mentioned it earlier on the previous podcast that the Knicks were playing the night before, so it didn't look like they'd have a lot of time to get like a day, have like 2 days
Get the
of ice
stank off the ice.
Yeah.
Actually, then are the Knicks really that bad? I've been they're like they have the number 1 rated defense in the NBA. I saw on the Twitter.
They're not the worst team. I think they're probably middle of the pack at this point, but they're not beating anybody big. Anyway, puck could have been a problem. I mean, the NHL announced that today that they were taking some of the pucks, replacing them because they didn't like the way they were handling, I guess, on the ice with the internals they use for tracking the pucks. So maybe that had a factor. I feel ice was really probably the most of it, but who knows? And so anyway, the game, Isles looked okay. A couple goals early. I think, what was it? Let's go to the box score here to remind myself what the goals were. You figure they have this right easily here.
Yeah, that first power play goal, right? That goes off of Fox and right out front to Brock Nelson. I mean, there's nothing you can do about that.
Yeah.
From the Rangers' perspective, there's really nothing. Tip your cap to him. It was a good bounce.
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, the goals. I'm not going to go too much into the goals too much because they have. I think that was the first one was off. Was where Andrews got hit in the face, came back around and scored the goal. I think it was the first goal, and it was pretty good. But generally in the first period, teams look pretty. I guess not, like I said, not super sharp. Isles had a lead going to the second. Basically, more of that in the second period and third periods, They really didn't change much in that regard. Rangers really didn't look good the whole game. I felt more so than the Isles being like looking great because there was a lot of little just mistakes everywhere, and it didn't seem that sharp of the game. Anyway, so I went back and I wanted to take a look at things that were interesting to me in terms of the different players, how they looked. It's hard to really see much of a couple of guys I was trying to look out for was third line, Pajot's line with Kiefer Bellows, and we had Ross Johnson playing on the other side this week. This line was intact for all 3 games. And so it was interesting to see the first game, Bellows had a bit more of an impact. He led the team in hits with 8 in the game. So to me, that was pretty, if you're a rookie and you want to keep on the line.
That's how you make
That's
your
a
mark.
great way.
Yeah.
Great way. He won a face-off, had a shot goal. I didn't really notice too much from him other than the hits, but that's okay. I think he's really still getting his feet under him, getting used to playing the pros.
The speed. He's got to get used to the speed of the game.
Yep. Yeah. So I mean, he wasn't very noticeable. Johnson was pretty much invisible, I felt, most of the game, even though the Isles were beating the pants off the Rangers in that game. Face-offs, Isles dominated the face-offs pretty much.
And that's going to be a common tale against the Rangers, anybody playing the Rangers this year, because they're just not a good face-off team. They really aren't.
Isles are a good team on the face-offs, and to couple that with a team that's not great, you have a 60-40 win percentage in that game. Power play, Isles had 2 goals in the out of 8. Really not terrible, not great. So I think that's probably what you should be doing. If you have 8 power plays, you should get at least 2 goals. I feel like 25%. I mean, that's probably still top too high, I guess.
That might be a little high. If you're in the upper
but still
low 20s, I think that's where you want to be.
I mean, you get 8. I feel like you get 8 in the game, you better get 2 goals. I don't give a shit what the numbers look like. Isles led in blocks. They typically do. They led in shots though. This game was a one-sided affair. Another note: Noah Dobson had 20 minutes of ice on the time on ice, and on top of that, he had what was surprising to me. Not that he had 20 minutes. I kind of felt like they'd have to push him along and really make sure he's getting the minutes early in the season to get his confidence up, because they're going to rely on him all season. They don't have an option. They're definitely thin on the back end. He had 7 minutes of power play time. On the defensive side, that's the second most behind Leddy with 7:21. On 8 power plays, I mean, the game was kind of not completely out of reach, but I mean, that's a lot of time. They gave him a lot of time on the power play, trying to really get him to be comfortable, and I think that's a great move right now. And it also helps all 3 pairs basically stay even on time. The most minutes was Leddy overall, 21 minutes. But Scott Mayfield, it's actually Andy Green had 16, almost 17 minutes. So not a big difference, which you'd expect. Probably Green's probably gonna play a little less some games, but there's not like we're not playing 4D, the main 25 minutes a game, and then the last pair like 10. So it's good because it's a long season, but it is we're still playing a full season of games. No matter how you look at it, if you 56 games plus playoffs, it's going to be a full 82-ish. If you're going all the way. So Varlamov looked solid.
Varlamov looked unbeatable.
He looks solid. That's the thing with the Isles goalies. It's the coaching, the defense, blocking shots. He's in the right position. He's going to make himself big, and the other team's going to have very few opportunities to score. So I felt that was pretty good. That game went well, even though they didn't look as great as the kind of the scoreboard and the score sheet looked. Second game of the week, a couple of days later, exactly the opposite.
Wow. Well, look, you get that bad break, right? And with who was that was Clutterbuck.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, I'll get to that. But just complete opposite game. And I'd love to hear the take from you after this. But essentially, early in the in warm-ups, Varlamov gets hit in the up high on a looks like a normal shot, and went up high. Trotz called out Clutterbuck for we can't hurt our own goalies. It's like you just can't do that. And I
did
agree.
it on purpose, dude.
I
Not a shooting.
listen.
Let's get him.
It's ridiculous.
Let's hit him in the neck.
It's sort of an unspoken rule in hockey. You don't shoot up high on the goalies in practice.
Oh, I think that's a spoken rule. I don't think that's unspoken. I think that's well known.
I see shots whistling off the glass all the time in practice.
It's unspoken until you get yelled at for doing it.
I used to do that. I used to do that to Hutchinson all the time. What are you talking about?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, and you would wait for his back to turn too, you jerk.
Well, in any
He'll be
case, it was
facing the shooter. All right, Bill.
yeah. In any case, it was an errant shot. It hit him. It looked like he was even like it looked like he was going to let it hit him. It hit him in a spot in his, turns out his jaw, which I guess he thought immediately bad and went down, and he was out for the game. They activated Corey Schneider, and he was backing up our newest goalie, Igor Sorokin. I can't say his name.
Yeah, but he was put in a bad spot.
Ilya Sorokin. I'm thinking like
Ilya
Igor
Sorokin,
Sorokin.
Right? He was just put in a bad spot.
He obviously has to mentally prepare for this. This is tough already, obviously, right? But maybe he left it out. He let in an early kind of soft goal. He should have stopped. But you could maybe give that to him. I think the rest of the game that was not so much on him. I think the rest of the game just quickly devolved, and Isles never got around to having a semblance of any control in this game. Rangers had 32 shots on goal. Islanders blocked 20 shots. So that's combined 52 shots compared to Isles only had 23 on goal and Rangers only blocked 6. I mean, we just didn't. It was a huge disparity in terms of just puck possession and just semblance of a team. And in the meantime, Noah Dobson had a couple mental mistakes led to a couple goals. One was the Panarin one. He sniped on a Sorokin. It was that was not really his fault. Obviously the defenseman should have been able to try to keep that play from happening, right? But nevertheless, I think it's like I think I mentioned it earlier in one of our podcasts. I had a feeling he would struggle early and wouldn't come on until late, and he could start to take on more games late in the season. I still think it's going to be probably 60-40 split, and seeing what they're doing with Noah Dobson and just shoving him into time and being like, we're going to get through this early tough period of the transition of you being a starting player and get to the point where like halfway through the season, you've already gotten over those jitters. You've gotten through all those issues of confidence and basically, you're ready to go every night and you're pro. And I think they're going to do the same thing with Sorokin and basically try to keep pushing him through it. And he's good friends with Varlamov, and coaches are, working on with him on small things. So I think he'll be okay.
Really would like to see Sorokin when he's prepared to play the game. I don't think we haven't seen him yet.
No, I think I think it's gonna be interesting to see how he comes and rebounds in a game where he knows he's starting.
Right, exactly.
I think he's gonna have a different approach at that point, and we'll see how that goes for him. Now the rest of the team, like I mentioned, there was a couple misplays from Dobson that were like obvious that led to goals. But to be honest, the game was just the team didn't respond. They were making bad penalties. It was 8 penalty power plays for the Rangers, 4 for the Isles. I think that was an inverse almost. We had the game before was 8 power plays for the Isles and 3 for the Rangers. So these two games just mirrored each other. I turned the game off at the beginning of the third period, mostly because this wasn't a change. They did not come out between after the second intermission. Even after the first intermission, they didn't come out any better. And so then I figured I'd stick around and see if they had any life in them coming into the second after the second intermission, and they didn't. It was the same. So I turned it off. It wasn't going to change. And so the question. So if you look at and from there, it's like time on ice. You see Dobson he definitely got penalized a little bit. He was down to 14 minutes on that game. Some other guys had 20 minutes because of that. And interestingly, Barzal got benched for a little bit. Not benched, but moved off top off the top line for a bit. Pajot was in between.
3 penalties, right? No, that's
Lee, and he had a bunch of he had a couple penalties.
Wait, now let me just ask before you go further. That game was Saturday night, right?
That game was the 16th. Was that Saturday night?
Yeah, Saturday night, yeah.
And then they played Monday at 5, right?
Correct.
So do you think maybe that was almost like load management? Like they gave him a little bit less time in the third just so that he would be fresh for Monday?
No.
I mean, I know it's early in the season, but
no, it was during the second period that started to happen. So Trotz was like, hey man, you had like 2 penalties already this game, I think at that point, and they 2 or 3, I think it was 2 lazy penalties. And they weren't taking much. It was like a hand on a guy or just, and when I say hand on a guy, I mean like they've been calling it, and I've been noticing in these 3 games, just hand off having a hand on
just
open hand,
a free hand
on the arm. it doesn't matter if the other guy just even puts his arm out to stop it, they're calling it.
Yeah.
And you know what? This is a typical thing in the NHL. They call these
Early in the
penalties
season.
early in the season, and then halfway through it changes, and then we start to slowly get to how the NHL normally calls things in the and late into the season and then into the playoffs,
And
which
then the
is
playoffs,
a lot more shit gets through. So so there was definitely some guys that that got in more time because of that. I didn't think anybody was really a standout in this game. They gave Pageau more time. I think he was the only guy maybe that I noticed, honestly. I think that's about it. And then going to the game yesterday, the Bruins game, much different game. The team came back and responded back to an actual Isles game. And I say that because if you've watched Isles in the last year or two, with when Trotz has taken over, they've really pushed into a more Lou Lamoriello. Oh my God, I'm gonna screw this up every time. Lou Lamoriello style of hockey, and that's defense wins. 1-0 games are just as good as a 5-0 game, which of course is pretty true because you both are wins, right? So anyway, this game was actually, I felt pretty entertaining. I caught the third period during the game. I actually didn't know what time the game started, so I caught the other first two periods to catch up on it this evening. And so it was interesting to go back through it in reverse order. But regardless, I felt the game was actually pretty entertaining. Isles looked much sharper. The overall flow of the game wasn't too many penalties, 8 penalties in the whole game. Islanders had 5 power plays, 3 on the Bruins. I felt some of the calls were pretty light. It was one penalty where Zizekas made a turn and just turned, and I guess his skates just clipped the guy who was skating with him, and he went into the boards, and they call a penalty on him, and I'm like, that's a penalty. Yeah. Now I wasn't listening to the broadcast. I was just watching it without any sound. I can only imagine what Butchie was saying about it, but I was like that's bad. But these, again, early in the season, shit happens. I know I was trying to see, looking for players and who was kind of standing out. Pageau and Beauvillier were looking like they were standing out to me pretty well in terms of time on ice. We had Pageau and Nelson and Bailey leading the time for the most part. They all had about 20 minutes ish. Kiefer Bellows and Ross Johnson, only 2 guys. Oh, and Matt Martin, all 3 of those guys had under 10 minutes. They were the only 3 on the whole team with under 10 minutes. But no surprise that Bellows and Johnson weren't playing as much because they were kind of shifting players around a little bit, double shifting Pageau, a little bit of Barzy on some different lines, Bailey a little bit. I don't know why they took Martin out on some of the plays. I'm not sure what happened there. If it was maybe Trotz didn't like something he was doing or something. Hard to say, but he didn't play a lot, and he only played 7 minutes compared to his line mates who had 14 and 14 minutes each from Clutterbuck and Zizekas. So from there, defensively, the only really big difference here was Andy Green and Noah Dobson had definitely the least amount of minutes of about 15, 16 minutes and 18 minutes for Dobson. The rest of the guys all had 20, 21 minutes. There wasn't like a big disparity, but they're definitely, and it's good to see. Like I mentioned earlier, I think it's really good to see them really balancing the load of all of the defensemen. Pelech and Pollock looked great though in this game. Dobson made some good plays, but he, you can see the potential. Like I could see it by the third game to this, like from yesterday's game. Definitely could see the potential's there for him to really have an impact as the season goes on. But he's definitely going to have those mental errors and try to do things that maybe he isn't quite as confident in his abilities and may not work out for him in some areas. But honestly, I've been very pleasantly surprised by him, despite this. I'm just gonna say that the second game of the season, I'm just gonna burn with fire. Just forget it happened. So anyway, the other game, they looked good. Pageau looked, I thought, like the best Islander on the ice outside of Pelech and Pollock. Those 3, I think, are probably were the best on the ice all game. Obviously, Varlamov was great. He stopped all 24 shots, so can't not mention him. But Pageau is really interesting. I think he's becoming a really valuable player for us. I was excited to see him in a full season, and also for us, and also I just was excited to see how they would use him, because he's like, you're paying a guy, pretty good money for a third line center, but we use him in a lot of different ways. And I think he's going to be that guy that kind of moves around a little bit when he's and help other players out until they kind of figure out the lines, I think, a little more. I really want to see more of him and Beauvillier playing together, because not only the French connection, but just the fact that they play, I think, kind of not as similarly, but I think they looked like they're going to have a really good connection. They just seem to have a similar play style, and I like both of them a lot. They both can play pretty well defensively, skate well, good vision. And I think Pajot is going to rub off on Beauvillier a little bit more and really keep him moving forward in his progress of being a really good player in the NHL. I didn't really see much of Bellows much. He had a couple, rushes, but he had, block shot, or he had I thought he had a shot in net, but it looks like they didn't credit him with one, so maybe he got blocked. But he can skate and hit, but it looks like they're going to probably do is this week is probably change up that third line a little bit. I like what they did was give him and Johnson enough time to play together to give them a good look while Wahlstrom gets a little more time, in practice. And then sounds like Doc Hall is going to be coming off of IR. He had some undisclosed injury. So when those two come around, it looks like they might get the next nod potentially. We'll see how that goes this week. But overall, two games, 2 wins, two wins and a loss, and one of those wins against Boston, who looked really good. They looked real sharp, and I felt they were going to be. I thought they were going to be a solid team this year, and I thought they were going to be the team to beat in the East. And honestly, they looked it. They looked really solid. They had like this guy Wagner, who was a real pest, had a bunch of hits and was all over the place. And I was like,
Charlie McAvoy too. I didn't realize Charlie McAvoy was that much of a pest.
Dude, McAvoy is good.
Yeah,
he made some nice plays, and I was impressed by him. I don't have to be impressed by Marchand and Pasta and the captain
Bergeron.
Thank you. They all look great. The usual guys, but they rolled the lines real well.
Yeah,
they had a lot of really good opportunities. I was just really good at managing the risk and kept them from getting a lot of shots on net. They blocked 17 shots and faced 27 shots on goal. I mean, Varlamov played really, really well. And, that's now 2 shots in a row for him. A lot to be happy about. And then, it's like 2 steps forward, 1 step back, I feel like. So we'll see how the rest of the week, this week comes up. We're going to have 2 games against the Devils, and then we're going to have the Capitals on next Tuesday. So that'll be fun. I'll be very distracted on next Tuesday as we're watching the game. And so I think overall, Pajot is looking good. Varlamov's looking good. Top pairing defenseman, Pollock making a lot of good plays, looking really solid. So excited to watch those guys keep going. Brock Nelson looked great. Barzal didn't miss a step. That guy's I honestly was surprised. I thought he would actually have a, maybe like a slower start, but
a little bit of rust coming in late.
Yeah.
Nobody had that much of a camp though.
No, and nobody did. So I guess it didn't matter much, but he looked real fresh, and he had a couple of takeaways that were, one led to a 1-on-0 against what was it, the Rangers? I think that was the second game that he stripped the puck from I forget who. Yeah. It wasn't Johnson. It was
he turned that one guy inside out on his goal, that's for sure.
He's still in the press box.
And bar down. That was
What's
D'Angelo, right?
Yeah, D'Angelo. Yeah. But he looked good. He didn't score in that one I was just saying, but he's making a lot of things happen. He's he wasn't having too many giveaways, which was been his big MO. And so that was good. If he keeps those down, that's key for him to progress to the next step. So but that's my
Conversely, though, my thoughts on game 1. Look, from the Ranger perspective, I agree with Nick. Yeah, that ice looked pretty awful, and I don't understand why all of training camp, even the last scrimmage that you had, make it be at the Garden. Find a way to have it at the Garden so you skate the ice before you actually play a game, so you get kind of used to the new ice. They didn't even have a morning skate there, so I question that. And maybe they're just not having morning skates for COVID issues, maybe. But I see the Rangers not having a lot of morning skates, and they didn't have one this morning, and they didn't practice yesterday. So I figured they would have had at least a morning skate today to get back on the ice before tonight's game. That didn't happen. Game 1, absolute throwaway from the Rangers' perspective. I mean, Jack Johnson tried single-handedly to lose that game. He had more scoring chances to Islander players than he did defensively for the Rangers all game long. Kreider looked good on the penalty kill. They're trying him, Buchnevich, and really anybody that they possibly can on the penalty kill to generate some offense. Shesterkin looked shaky. Look, that first one, I give it to the Islanders. It was a bad bounce off of Fox right to Brock Nelson, or was it Nelson or Lee in the slot for the power play goal?
First one was Lee, I thought.
Was it Lee? All right.
Yeah.
And then the other two, I think Shesterkin should have had. There were two pucks that he saw fully. Miller comes across to take away the pass, and he leaves Shesterkin the shot. Shot gets by Shesterkin. So I thought he looked a little shaky. He settled down about midway through the game, but it was over by that point. Kids looked okay. Didn't have any problems with Miller or with Lafreniere. Miller had a shaky first period, but hey, it's his first NHL game. I'm sure the nerves got him a little bit. Rangers size is going to be an issue all year long. They looked really, really small against the Islanders. Even in game 2, they looked really small. They looked to get beaten up a little bit. Lee, Nelson, all night right in front of the crease. Rangers defense had a really, really hard time with both of those guys. But you have to remember, it's only game 1. I'm sure some preseason games would have helped.
They didn't have preseason games?
No, can you believe that shit?
How did they not have preseason games?
Game 2, as Nick mentioned, completely different game for the Rangers. In between games of practice, the guys who wear the A's stepped it up. And having D'Angelo out of the game and putting in some size with Brendan Smith, I think was the right thing to do. Kevin Rooney got hurt in game 1. You insert Phil DiGiuseppe into the lineup. It gave the Rangers a little bit more size, a little bit more physicality, and they mixed up the lines a little bit. They put Lafreniere on with Strome and Panarin, which I thought was a pretty good move. But you got to let the kid start developing and make some plays, but he looked a little lost tonight. He didn't have a really stellar game, but he didn't also look out of place, but he looked a little lost at times playing on that line. You put Kakko back on the line with Hedl and Phil DiGiuseppe, and it benefited with a goal. No Tony DeAngelo, which was a response to his undisciplined penalty toward the end of the game, not to mention Barzal completely undressing him, just like Aho did in the last game of the bubble. And George has always been a thorn in the Islanders' side. I think it was the right move for Shesterkin to start game 1, but Georgiev has 5 total shutouts, 2 had come against the Islanders, and he's always had really good numbers. And even last year, you guys had a hard time with him, Nick. Even though Kakko scored a goal, he still looks like a baby giraffe, just trying to learn how to walk a little bit, And that's, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing yet, but he is only 19 years old. So hopefully that develops into something more. Jack Johnson wasn't as noticeable in game 2 as he was in game 1.
All that time in the weight room. All that time in the weight room was really paying off.
Yeah, all of it for naught. And they got to hit the net on the power play. 1 for 8 on the power play. But all I saw on the power play was Kovalev hitting the glass. That's all I saw on the power play that night. They just got to learn to hit the net. So, agreed. It was the best, it was a mirror image of each other. Buchnevich, man, he had a great camp and he had a great game. That second goal from that angle, it's a tough shot for any goalie to stop. And it was even tougher to shoot. I think, who's that former goaltender who does analysis on MSG? I can't think of his name for some reason right now. Steve Valiquette. He has an analytics company that he does, and he said that shot has like a 1.7% chance of going in or something. And but shot not taken is a goal not scored, right?
Well, that's why you try to shoot like 50 times each game, because odds are always pretty low of them going in.
Yeah, but they didn't shoot 50 times in game 1. I can tell you that for right now.
I feel like that it's like a 1.7% chance for us to shoot that. But for like a professional, I feel like it's a much higher percentage for any of those guys.
Well, I know he had some numbers from last year of every shot taken from that exact spot on the ice. It was some ridiculous stat. It shows you what analytics does for you. Game 3 tonight. I thought they got off to a slow start again. That Pat Sajak goal was. Look, he's driving hard to the net. You got to pick him up. Rangers didn't, and they paid the price. Jack Hughes. Looks like a number 1 overall pick, starting to look like it. Well, against the Rangers anyway. And, Miles Wood, Ranger killer, comes through with a kicking goal. Should have been reviewed. Not sure it would have been taken away, but it looked like a kicking motion to me.
I'm going to insert the crybaby voiceover on that one.
What? And you're gonna cry about whether Palmieri was offsides or not? He was offsides. He lost the puck. He skated into the zone, regained the puck. That's offsides.
Sorry, I didn't want to distract you. Keep going.
No. It's okay.
I didn't get to see this alleged goal. That what was the issue?
So it was like a cross ice pass.
Oh, because it was a kick, right?
To Miles Wood, yeah, and he was kind of like going down to his left knee, so his right foot went to the heel.
Yeah,
because he definitely shot the leg out.
He shanked the shot, so he tried to kick it in with his foot, which he did. That's what happened.
Yeah. Now the Penguins had a kicked in goal the other day too, and it counted. I don't know what they're even calling a kicking motion anymore. I don't even know how they define it because I see kicks and they're not calling them.
No, they didn't even. They didn't review it in the NHL, nor did they challenge it.
They review every goal, but play started so quickly. I don't know how they reviewed it.
I mean,
I was surprised at how quickly the puck
play started very quickly after that goal.
But I don't think they have that rule though, like the NFL does. Like if the play starts, won't they?
No. That's exactly right.
No, once that puck is dropped,
okay,
that last play is over.
Exactly. Rangers power play looked really good tonight.
Wow,
really good. Well, I mean, look, say what you want against the Devils PK. They were being aggressive, but the Rangers looked a lot better and they were hitting the net. Georgie got pulled for the third period. Igor net was pretty steady for what was the 3 shots that he faced, I'm sure. But you got to tip your cap to Mackenzie Blackwood. He had a stellar third period. Rangers threw the kitchen sink out of him. They couldn't get the puck past him. Toward the end of the game, Mika lost an edge, slipped into the boards, got up real awkwardly, holding his shoulder. So you got to keep your eye on that. Looked to be in a lot of pain. Wasn't out there for that last 25 seconds of the game. Hopefully he's okay. I'm sure he will not be at practice tomorrow. And now the Rangers hit the road. For a 4-game set, 2 in Pittsburgh, 2 in Buffalo, and then they come home. So we'll see what they are on the road. But you take some good things away from this one. The power play starting to click. Panarin looks to be getting into midseason form. I don't know what they're going to do with D'Angelo when he comes back, as he probably will be in the lineup come Pittsburgh. And I don't know who they're going to take out, but you can certainly see Igor net for sure.
He might always get arrested at some sort of protest tomorrow on Inauguration Day.
That is very true. Or they can trade him for Pierre-Luc Dubois. That would be great.
Oh yeah, just 1 for 1. I'm sure you think that's a fair trade.
Well, Adam Larson and Taylor Hall. What are you talking?
No, yeah, they're basically
it makes absolute perfect sense. Makes perfect sense. But
good call.
But a lot of good things to take away, at least especially from the last 2 games. The first one, big time stinker. So I guess we'll go to you, Steve, so you can gloat about your Devils.
On the season, and I'm not going to go game by game. If the Devils don't have Mackenzie Blackwood, they're 0-3. There's no 2 ways about it. He single-handedly kept them in the first game, in the first period. That first period easily could have been 5-0 without him. They got out of it 1-0, down 1-0. He's looked very solid. He's not giving up rebounds. He's staying very large. I mean, he's a huge guy to begin with, but he's staying really big in net and not giving much room to shoot at.
Like Billy Large, or
no, taller, not wider.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
because there's so many fat guys running around the NHL. I'm sorry, Phil Kessel, but there's
not like
just so many of them. Sure, yeah, that makes sense.
I agree with your assessment on Hughes. He definitely looks like a first-round pick now, especially the last 2 games.
Not just a first-round pick, dude. Number 1.
First overall pick, yeah.
That pass he made was a beaut.
Yeah. And you're seeing him. He's not getting knocked off the puck as easily as he did last year. He's taking hits. He's staying on his feet. So I'm very, very impressed with the way he's been playing. On the other side of things, Gusev has been absent. I haven't noticed him at all. Ty Smith, been playing outstanding. He has this knack for getting pucks on net through traffic that is going to be huge for them this year, because I feel like the only way they're going to score is on those goal mouth rebounds. Very happy to see him getting the puck on net the way he has. Most surprising player is Yegor Sharangovich.
Isn't he the
you sound like Nick
for the 76ers?
That is Shakir Mukhamadullin.
No. That's a totally different guy. He's still in
Different
Russia.
Guy, same country. So Sharangovich has been flying around the ice, taking pucks away, scored beautiful. His first goal, overtime, game winner against the Bruins. So very, very happy to see him. And overall, I'm really happy with the way the team played the first 3 games, especially without Heishier and Bratt.
Who's the backup for Wedgwood? Kyle Wedgwood?
Scott.
Oh, Scott
Wedgwood.
Kyle Scott. What's the difference?
But they just got Aaron Dell off of waivers.
Oh my God.
After claiming Comrie off of waivers the week before that.
All those memes on Twitter, you're getting Adele.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I really wanted to unfollow everybody.
I'll make sure to post one.
Real quick, but I just got to see the replay. That was a kick. Yep. Not according to the NHL. I mean, it don't matter. Our opinions aren't relevant.
That's coming from a non-biased guy, by the way.
I put it on Twitter. I thought there was definitely a possibility that it was a kick that it should have been reviewed.
For what it's worth, I think you should be allowed to kick it in anyway. I don't really give a shit. But
I agree, Billy. Who cares?
So I was setting up my a room in my house where I do a lot of trainings for my actual job, and I was listening to NHL radio on Sirius, and then the Devils Bruins game came on, and I got the luxury of hearing Matt Loughlin,
the greatest announcer in the history of hockey,
Chico Resch, call a radio Devils game. And my God, between him and Steve Cangelosi, how do you listen to the Devils announcers? I mean, do you mute or you just listen to Danica?
I like Kanji. I like Steve Cangelosi.
He's got a lot of energy, dude. He's got a lot of energy.
Boy, yes.
Spunky?
He is a spunky little boy.
Wow.
Matty Loughlin. There's probably a reason why he went from TV to radio.
He's got a face for radio, and he also
and Chico's always been a homer. You gotta love Chico.
Like
every team's got a Chico. I don't want to hear it,
dude.
Every team has a Chico.
Beyond on the radio, beyond homer. Beyond.
Every team has a Chico.
Yes, they do.
I don't know. I mean, you did point it out with Espo down in Tampa. Boys
and Butch Goring on the island.
Butchie, it's just great listening to Butchie because I mean he's gonna be a homer, but like he can't. The shit he says is just so funny.
Yeah.
He's like that. He's like that
he's
guy.
He's like the crazy uncle. That's what like, Chico is like. Yeah. He's like your crazy uncle.
He's like a better version of Stan.
Know what game he's calling.
Stan Fisher.
And Joe Micheletti, nothing gave him more joy than to call the Islander Bruin game. Nothing gave him more joy. He is such an Islander. He was an Islander guy for so long, and nothing gave him more joy than to call that Islander Bruin game.
He loves the Islanders, man.
Loves the Islanders.
Loves the Islanders.
Boy, Sam is just in space. I don't know. Tonight he called Strome Chris like 3 or 4 times. He called Lafreniere's name wrong. I mean, I love him, but he's out there, man. He is out there.
And I just wanted to touch on the game day skate thing. Apparently, Lindy Ruff, not a fan of the game day skate.
Yeah.
So I wonder if
not either.
Yeah. So maybe I'm telling you, maybe those things are going away. I don't know, Billy, do they do a lot of like Penguins, big game day skate fans?
I have no idea.
It's called Twitter. Maybe just
maybe follow it. Maybe
throw
get
it on
on
the
there.
phone.
It's a little bit too much. I don't know.
Throw it on the phone. Just follow one person, one beat writer. That's all you need.
Rob Rossi is the athletic guy for the Penguins. All you gotta do is follow him on the Twitter.
There you go. Follow Bob Ross on Twitter.
Right. While you're on the shitter, just take a peek on Twitter. Did that rhyme? I wanted that to rhyme so bad.
You're gonna have to.
While you're on the shitter, check out your Twitter.
Right, exactly. While you're on the shitter, check out your Twitter.
So how about them Penguins? How about my boy, number 87? What did he do tonight?
Oh, is it my turn? Oh, it's interesting that you brought him up. Great segue, Steve. Because guess who scored the game winner in overtime today?
Malkin?
No.
Tang?
Tanev?
No, the segue.
Gensel. Gensel? No. Was it Gensel?
Why would I say you just gave me a great segue if you talk about 87 and somebody else?
It had to be Rust then, right? Rust.
It's Kessel, right?
No, that's 17.
Lemieux? Is that Lemieux? Did he score?
No, Sidney Crosby.
Oh, it was. I tell you, it was an impressive. Find yourself in open space, cut across the net, rebound, wide open.
It was really, it was really Gensel's setup there, bringing the puck in the zone in overtime today, making a nice little move on the boards and holding on to it and passing it back to, might have been Letang with them. I'm not sure who the defenseman was. I feel like it was a right-handed shot. but I forget. Sorry. We got the shot on net, and Crosby was, Johnny on the spot, cutting across right when the rebound came and stuffing it in around what the hell is that? What the hell's the Capitals goalie's name? Starts with a V. Whatever it is. I want to say Voracek, but I know that's somebody on the
No,
Veshchurkin?
No.
No, it's not Veshchurkin.
Veshchurkin.
But that guy. It was supposed to be Lundqvist for them. I don't know who the Islanders goalies are anymore. But yeah, so
you mean the Capitals goalies, not the Islanders goalies.
So the Penguins
Just ignore me. Don't answer.
What?
Vanasek?
Just
Was
keep
it
going.
Vanasek?
Yeah, I think that's the guy.
Yeah, because I just looked it up.
Oh, there you
No,
go.
but that's not their. No, he's not their starting
He's
goalie.
not
Was
the-
he?
No, but he's
that
who played tonight. He
Oh.
played tonight.
You mean the starting goalie doesn't play all 56 games?
No, Samsonov is the other guy.
Mackenzie Blackwood will.
I have a couple of Samsonovs. Good TVs.
Oh,
Oh, I might have just got the show opener.
Swami, Slammy, Samson, Samsonov, Samsonite.
Samsonite. That was way off.
That was way off.
Oh, well, so anyway, but the Penguins on the young season now they're 2-2 after sort of sweeping the Capitals series. I mean, I don't know, is it even a sweep anymore when you have to go to overtime or a shootout in both games and the other team gets a point?
sure it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
A win's a win, I guess, but yeah, so they're 2-2 so far. So I guess you take the good and you take the bad and you take them both. And
There you have.
well,
Was that a fact
so-
of life reference? All right.
what? I have
Was
no
that a
idea what you're
fact
talking
of
about.
life reference?
What's that?
Okay. Billy just got muted for a minute because that was facts of life reference. I mean, come on. What are we subjecting ourselves to? Maybe he shouldn't drink.
What are we subjecting other people to?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that's the point I was trying to make.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to apologize for the facts of life reference from
I was
Bill
just trying to figure out
Fougere.
if I was supposed to unmute myself. Anyway, yeah. So I had quite a bit of bourbon earlier. So okay, so the Penguins and this young season. So I don't know. On at the opener against Philadelphia, the first game of the actual NHL season, in that nice 5 o'clock time slot last week.
Who'd they play?
Did anybody
Who'd they
happen
play?
to see? Huh?
Who'd they play?
The Flyers.
Fuck the
Fuck the
Flyers.
Flyers.
Fuck the Flyers.
Fuck the Flyers.
Anybody happen to see any defensemen during that game that might have had a little bit of trouble? Just curious if anybody caught that. Yeah. So it was the debut of Mike Matheson for the Penguins, and I really can't say that not only have I never seen anybody have such an inauspicious debut for the team ever in my life. I simply don't think I've seen a worse game played by a defenseman in all the years I've been watching hockey.
Did you
I
watch
mean-
Jack Johnson?
Yeah. Jack Johnson was in Pittsburgh last season. I know he had
I mean, game 1 of this season. Did you watch Jack Johnson play against the Islanders?
you don't even try to compare notes with me because I can't even. Matheson was the first goal against the Penguins in the season was on the power play. Matheson, the guy that Matheson was on, was in front of the net and deflected the puck past Jari for the first goal. Now, first of all, Matheson was standing right there with him. And he didn't even have to deflect the puck. The puck was going to go into the wide side of the net because Matheson was screening his own goaltender as the shot was coming in. The guy happened to deflect it, which was another thing. You're standing right there with him. You can't get anything on him. You can't tie up his stick at all. And besides that, why weren't you moving him the hell out of the way of your goaltender? I mean, it was an awful play, which led to the Flyers' first goal. The Flyers' second goal was scored when Matheson went to the penalty box for a really hasty retaliation penalty. So he saw Malkin get knocked along the bench by somebody on the Flyers and goes in there, hits him from behind and drills him into the boards head first. Okay, I appreciate that you're looking out for your teammate, but it was early in a tie game. It wasn't that big of a deal what Malkin, Malkin got bumped a little bit. Maybe it was a little rougher than normal. It was not really the time to send that kind of a statement. I think you could argue maybe there are some times during the game that maybe you do want to send that message, but the game hadn't gotten out of hand at that point by any stretch of the imagination. So it was an awful penalty to take. He ends up going to the box. They score again. And then they scored 3 more times with Matheson on the ice. And he was so slow and so lost out there. And, I wanted to give him a little bit of benefit of the doubt because he's obviously a veteran player who's coming over to a new roster, had a short training camp. And I don't think you could discount the fact that he has, had that abbreviated training camp. And God knows why they're not playing preseason games. I mean, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. yeah, I get that maybe he's a step behind or a little bit, not quite with it, but he just didn't look like he had any NHL experience. He didn't look like he was fit to be out there. He looked out of shape and he looked lost. And what I couldn't say for sure that, the Penguins, they would have won the game if he wasn't playing that day, but it would not have been a 6-3 game. It would not have been, the one-sided kind of blowout, which, I mean, they were even tied in the third period anyway. So it really got away from him late, but the press noticed the game that he had. Cody Ceci, their other new defenseman free agent signing, also did not play a good game. He was slow as well, but he started out on a defensive pairing with Matheson. The two of them together were just unbelievably bad, and then they split him up pretty quickly after the first period. And Ceci, didn't look good, but didn't look terrible the rest of the way. But Matheson, I mean, all the eyes were on him, and he had a brutal game. So when they got to game two, and he continued, maybe wasn't quite as hard as game one, but he was not having a good game two either. Then he got hurt at some point, some sort of upper body injury during the game, maybe in the second period, and disappeared. And now he's out longer term. And I don't think anybody's misses him or is worried about when the hell he's going to get back after the start he had. I've seriously just never seen a start like that. Just brutal, just a brutal way to start with a new team. And for all the excuses I want to give him about the training camp, and he just didn't look prepared, frankly, and that was a big shock, to see somebody, an NHL player out there, just having his head spin like that. So that was bad news. But in game two, the Penguins lost again to the Flyers, and Jari also did not play well. So their goaltender, who's replacing now Matt Murray, really didn't have a sharp first couple of games. Now, certainly he was kind of forsaken by Matheson and some of the other guys on the defense. But, it's kind of like watching Sam Darnold play quarterback. He doesn't have the weapons around him, but he just sucks anyway. So Jari, not having a good start to the season there either. So when we got to the Capitals series, games 3 and 4, both of those games went to Casey DeSmith, who actually replaced Jari, I think, in that second Philadelphia game too. So they're giving him a little bit of a longer look. And I'm not going to tell you that DeSmith has been lighting the world on fire. He's given up a couple weak ones as well. He gave up a weak one tonight on a high shot that, he went down too fast on, kind of hit the top of his shoulder, bounced up over his shoulder and went into the net. So, but he's been a little bit of an improvement on Jari. And as Matheson has been out of the lineup, and Cody Ceci, they kept out of the lineup as well after game one to try to get better pairings going. And they brought in Ricola and Ruedel from the 7 and 8 spot on the defensive depth chart. And it hasn't been good defensive games against the Capitals. They're still not really taking care of the front of their net very well, but there's certainly been a marked improvement, and they've been able to get the puck out of their own end a little bit better and start playing with the puck on the other end of the ice. And that's where even in the first couple of losses against Philadelphia, once the Penguins have gotten down into their offensive zone and started doing their thing and cycling, they've looked pretty good. Their forward sets looked pretty good. The offense looks fairly well in sync, with the exception of the power play. But they did start, doing a better job in games 3 and 4 against the Capitals, and they couldn't beat the Capitals in regulation in either game, but they held with them. And today they were down 4-2 at one point, and they did manage to tie. And actually in today's game tonight, in game 4 here, they spent really, I'm going to say 16 to 17 minutes of that third period. They were in the Capital zone. They never broke through with a goal in regulation, but they were really, really putting the pressure on. They actually started looking pretty good. And so they were, I hopefully that gives them a little boost going into playing a couple of games with the Rangers. Just going to check what other notes I made.
DeSmith had a hell of a pass to Gensel for that third goal tonight.
Yeah, I was gonna. So in tonight's game, it was interesting because the Penguins' power play had been struggling. They actually had one power play goal in Philadelphia, which was a wild knockdown when Carter Hart was trying to clear the puck and Crosby just flew across. And I guess an experience on Hart's part, just because you assume nobody in the world could knock down that clearing attempt and stuff it into the net. Crosby did it. That's not much of a power play setup there. But it was a power play goal, counted. But today they had some. The power play started to look pretty good today against the Capitals. So they did have a 5-on-3 goal that they scored. They scored another power play goal a little bit later on. Gino took a nice one time and blasted into the top corner. So that they're starting. It looks like they're starting to click on the power play, and that's going to be important for them to stay competitive. But yeah, the one that Tom is referring to here was actually a 5-on-3 advantage for the Capitals, where they dumped the puck in and let DeSmith play it. And then DeSmith let out an alley-oop pass over the Capitals defense and found Teddy Bluger on the other side, and Bluger brought it in on a breakaway and finished it. So that was, I agree, that was a really nice pass by DeSmith on that shorthanded goal. So what else we got? So I mean, as far as the players go, on the top line, I think they're playing really well. When Kapanen returned tonight, and granted, I guess he's had limited time practicing with the team, but Kapanen was inserted on the fourth line tonight. It was his first game with the Penguins. They kept Evan Rodriguez on the first line with Crosby and Gensel, and that line's starting to click, and I'm wondering if they're going to make any change there.
Penguins have been on NBC Sports and NBC the past couple of days, so I've had a chance to watch the Penguins. And every time I see that Rodriguez kid, I think of Benny the Jet Rodriguez. I don't know why, but for whatever reason, that's who.
It's because they have the same last name.
The Jets steal
Is that the only reason? Well, he was
Probably.
also in Mighty Ducks 3, right, or something like that.
Yeah, he was the one that couldn't stop.
Oh, that was the second one, the Olympics one, right? Team USA.
Yeah,
Right. He was the one that couldn't stop.
He also reminds me a lot of our old teammate Tiago.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, okay.
I don't know.
You know, if oddly enough, Jacob Trouba reminds me of Mick Berry a lot. I don't know why.
Bill, do you think there's reinforcements in the Penguin system defensively, or do you think they're going to have to go outside to find sufficient?
Well, they've got Joseph, who they're pretty high on. I mean, as far as I know, the one guy on their taxi squad is the one guy that I would have to expect. If there's maybe another injury or something that they'll pull into it. And I think they're interested to see what he's going to do. Outside of that, I don't know of any real up and comers that they're too high on. But yeah, I mean, the one thing is, out of that Wilkes-Barre and sometimes out of this Scranton team, they do tend to be NHL ready when they step in. So that's a kind of a tribute to the way they've been running that organization over the last few years.
I didn't step on the joke this time.
Good job.
So Rodriguez, still on the right side with Crosby, and I was going to say who Rodriguez actually reminds me of a little bit is another.
You were going to say Benny the Jet Rodriguez too?
No.
Oh.
But he reminds me of another number 9 that used to play with Crosby, Pasquale.
Gordie Howe?
Pax Dupuis?
Yeah.
I was going to say Rico Fata.
I don't think I remember who that is. I vaguely know.
You think back to your Ranger days.
So I wonder if you can just leave Kapanen on the second line and leave Rodriguez up there.
Yeah, and they did a
like we've said in weeks past. There's always that player that Crosby makes significantly better.
Yeah, and I think what Rodriguez brings to the table, and I don't know Kapanen well enough to know if he could too yet, but Rodriguez is that right-handed shot on the line, and he also is real good, like Dupuis was, at gaining control of the puck when you dump it in the zone. He's that speedy guy that can get in there and work on the boards and establish possession. And I think that that adds a lot if you can handle the rest of the workload as the forward or at some level of competence. Being that guy is a big part of a top line.
Yeah, Hagelin was that guy too for you guys too, right?
Hagelin did that a little bit, yeah.
He did a ton for the Rangers
in that type, yeah. Gensel on the top line, I thought Gensel had a real quiet start, which worried me a little bit because he had the big injury last season that ended his regular season and was supposed to end his whole season. He wouldn't have been back for the playoffs if there wasn't the delay and the playoffs starting several months later. When Gensel did come back in the playoffs last season, he was pretty invisible against Montreal. So after an invisible few games to start the season, I was a bit worried about him too. But he did the other night against Washington score the game-winning shootout goal, which I was hoping would give him a little bit of confidence. And he looks like he looked a lot better today, and he made some good plays and that line had a lot of good sustained pressure today. As far as other guys, the other standout would be what until tonight was previously the third line with Jankowski, Tanev, and McCann. Extremely strong start to the season. They were scoring. They scored goals in both of the Philadelphia games at even strength. They don't get a lot of power play time, but they were really the one line that really had it going in those first couple of losses. And this is our first time seeing Jankowski, who came over from Calgary, and I know that he was a little bit in their doghouse, but I like what I see so far from him. He has some offensive ability.
It's a pretty solid line, especially that Tanev, man. That Tanev kid is He's a pain in the ass. He's going to be a pain in the ass to play against for any team.
And then the last thing I'll say is, the defense is struggling. I for one am ready already to see their assistant coach Todd Reardon hit the road, because he's the guy in charge of their defense. I would love to see Sergei Gonchar back behind the bench again with them. I miss him already. I don't know why they got rid of him.
I wish Sergei Gonchar was still on your blue line.
Yeah, no shit. And speaking of veteran blue liners, okay, so I'm watching a little bit of the Penguins and Caps today, and the announcers were talking about Chara and some of the young defensemen on the Capitals, and the young defensemen listening to Chara as like this sage veteran that they want to like learn from. And I'm just thinking, and I'm wondering what you guys think you could learn from Zdeno Chara, because I'm thinking, like, what advice is he giving a young defenseman? Is like, be 7 feet tall and shoot the puck 120 miles an hour? Like, if they can fucking do that, sure. What advice are you getting from Zdeno Chara? Seriously.
I mean, how well does he speak English? First of all, I don't know how well he speaks English, so I don't know if
in the country for 20 years at least.
I mean,
What?
yeah, but he lived in Boston. I mean, come on, he's not going to learn much good English from.
So he speaks unintelligible English, maybe.
Yeah.
So he's going.
Could you imagine if Zdeno Chara had a Boston accent?
Wait, he doesn't have a Boston accent? So, look, you brought up the thing with the puck earlier. I didn't even know that they had anything in the puck. What was that for? Was that trying to gather analytics and how fast the puck travels?
Fast the puck, I think, where the puck goes, high traffic areas.
Are they bringing back the Fox thing with the tail on the puck? Are they bringing that back? No.
I don't know, the tail. They could bring back that. They've talked about it, using it, that just like the highlighting it sometimes, but it's almost like the
failed miserably in the mid 90s.
Well, it was like a comet. It was like, like swinging around.
Now it's going to be this dot that's going around your screen.
It's going to look like it's going to be like playing Pong.
Right, exactly. It's just
it.
Fucking hokey, man. It's for the non-people who can't follow the puck.
100%.
Billy loves when they do things to get the casual fan.
It's a translator, so we know what the game from the puck's point of view, and it's just going, ouch, ouch.
Well, look, now if there was a camera in the puck, that would be pretty cool. I wouldn't mind seeing that.
Yeah, I don't know how you would do that.
I know I don't either.
One thing that I've noticed with the Devils power play, and I don't know if this translates to other teams if they do it as well. When did the league get away with? You got your guy at the point in the middle. Your two guys on the wing that are your shooters. Sticks should be in the middle, right? They should be facing the inside. So, for instance, the Devils have Hughes on the left side, and his stick is on the outside. So the puck's got to go across his body to get to his stick. It just seems like he should be on the other side of the ice, so his stick is on the inside so that he could be ready to take that one-timer or get the puck quicker to move it to the next guy.
It seems to me that there's a real dearth of right-handed shots that teams want on the power play. And I think that's where they start improvising if they don't have enough of those right-handed sticks out there.
Yeah.
That they got to put people on that off wing. And yeah, it's I just don't think I think that's a commodity, like guys who can shoot from the right side who you actually want on the power play too.
It's just frustrating.
It may also be part of it is preference. He may just prefer to play on that side and have the ability to shoot it over. He may have grown up that way. I mean,
seems like it takes a little bit longer for him to get the puck, and then he's not in a good position to shoot because he's shooting from outside the slot. Then
is he primarily shooting from there, or is he primarily passing?
It's whoever is playing that position that's going to be the shooter. The puck still has to cross their body to get to their stick, and then they're shooting from the boards rather than shooting from the center of the ice.
It could be something that they look at. Maybe they say, hey, you tend to shoot.
I know they're listening, so let's fucking work on that.
One thing I forgot to add, big shout out to Brendan Lemieux tonight. Blocked 2 PK Subban slap shots.
Yeah.
One while he was already down and couldn't even walk, and got up and got in front of that thing again. And they were 2 bombs that came his way, and he blocked both of them. So big shout out to him. Speaking of PK Subban, wasn't involved much on the power play for the Devils at all tonight.
No,
and he used to be the guy who was on the point that you feared, and teams just don't fear him anymore. Like, he still has a big shot, but the Devils seem to not exploit that. Why?
So again, it's that the way they run their power play is they want that shot. They want to go cross ice. They want to go from the guy high in the middle to the guy on the wing, cross ice to the guy on the other side of the ice to take the shot to catch the goalie slow getting over.
Yeah, I got you, and that's what the analytics are telling them. But
that's the Ovechkin shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, but how many times does Subban score in the power play? How many power play goals did he have during the course of the year? Is it worth trying that a couple of times in a game?
Well, he will occasionally, as soon as he gets the puck, he is shooting it.
Yeah, but when he was with Montreal, when he was with Nashville, that's what he did, and he just doesn't do that with the Devils.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see that happening more as the season goes on.
Right, and I'm sure it's just early. I don't know how much he did last year.
In comparison to last year, he has played spectacular. So maybe don't let him shoot. Let him focus on defense. He's been playing great defense so far. He had one pretty bad play against Boston. It was a 2-on-2. And instead of covering his guy, he played the pass more in between the two guys, and Bergeron scored a shorty. But other than that, he's been playing really well.
Right at the defensive style of Lindy Ruff, I guess.
It's because his attention is not on that skier anymore.
The piece of ass is gone, so he can concentrate.
He
back
can
on
focus
hockey.
on hockey now.
Hey, I don't doubt that. I don't doubt
Whatever
that.
Mike Milbury said about how horrible women are to be around, what a terrible distraction they are. I agree with Mike Milbury.
Of course she was a distraction. Have you seen her? Just saying.
And by seeing her, Tom means she's smoking hot.
Yeah.
Wait, yeah.
Well, yeah.
I heard Jared Porter was texting with her.
Is that too soon? I don't know. That was just this morning. Credit to Nick. Calling out the impressive that the Ottawa Senators are going to be impressive. They're 1-2 on the season, but they lost to Toronto by 1. They were in that game for a while, and they lost tonight only by 1 to Winnipeg, and they won their first game. So,
but they lost.
Right, but they're more competitive. The 2 games they lost, they only lost by 1.
Yeah, they've
been more competitive than I think anybody thought they were going to be so far.
They look better than the Rangers did. 1-2 mark for sure.
We'll see. It's early in the season, but honestly, I thought they would. I don't think Toronto's going to run away with it. Like I talked about that.
I definitely.
Before.
I think you're right. I don't think Toronto is going to run away with it the way I thought they were going to. I thought their only competition was Vancouver.
I think Winnipeg and Vancouver are very good, and I think Ottawa's gonna. I don't know if they're gonna make the playoffs. I think they're gonna be like surprising people, though. I think they're gonna be that team this year that just surprises
to disrupt the whole flow. Yeah,
just because there's always a team. Like next year, Seattle's gonna be that team probably. Everyone's gonna be like the next Vegas, and they could suck, and then everybody would be like, oh, surprising. But they could. Who knows what that's gonna look like? But that's gonna be the big talk of it, obviously, next year. But there's always a team. So
Tom looks like his heart is broken. I am assuming he got some sort of bad news.
Wow, I mean, the Blackhawks lost again. They're just tough time to be a Blackhawk fan this year for sure.
You're a Blackhawks fan?
Well, they're my West Coast team. I like the Blackhawks. I like Jonathan Taves. I think he's.
I didn't realize Chicago was on the West Coast.
Well,
geography lessons for everybody.
They're a Western Conference team, numbnuts. And look, Jonathan Taves is just a reincarnation of Mark Messier. So what's not to like?
No, not at all.
Messier never quit because he had sniffles.
He's got the same punchable face. That's about it.
Mark Messier's birthday, right? Yesterday or today?
Yeah, big 60.
60 years old.
Big 60.
Really? Jesus.
He still looks like he can fucking play.
Yeah, I'd still put him on a forward line and have Gonchar on the blue line for me. Yeah.
Messier will be your second line center.
Who would have been better at 60? Gordie Howe or Messier?
Didn't Gordie play at 60?
He did.
So I'm going to say Gordie Howe. But look, about the season, and like everybody's been saying, it's still really early on.
It's so early, yeah.
I think at the turn of the calendar to February, I think we're going to start seeing what our teams actually are. So there's a whole nother week of games. The Rangers got 3 more games coming up, 2 against Pittsburgh, and they'll be playing Buffalo as we record. So I'm sure I'll be frustrated then as well. See how they do in Pittsburgh and on the road. This is their first road games coming up of the season. Let's see how they gel on the road, and maybe that makes them a tighter knit group. Who knows?
I worry about that matchup with Pittsburgh a little bit because they have not. The Penguins are really not taking care of the front of their net, and the Rangers their quickness, I think, is going to be able to exploit that. And Washington, Washington quick is not their forte.
No.
And so the Penguins hung with them, but I am worried on this young season so far about the Penguins matching up with a faster team.
Who the Islanders got this week, Nick?
Devils twice,
and
the Capitals on next Tuesday. No back-to-back games. In fact, there's no game till we play the Devils on Thursday, and then on Sunday, and then the Capitals on Tuesday. So they got a nice break. Still 3 games in a week. It's not like but then again, they're not traveling far.
Nope. After the Islanders, Steve, who the Devils got?
Philly, back-to-back 2 with Philly.
Fuck the Flyers.
Fuck.
Fuck the
With
Flyers.
All right, I think that's going to do it for us tonight. Don't forget Twitter @friends_rivals, Facebook and YouTube, Friends and Rivals. Click, comment, and share. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast anywhere where you get your podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to our show because it really does help out our channel. Thanks, guys. Great week of hockey. Glad to have it back. Billy, sing us out.
Twitter on the shitter.
Oh, my friends and rivals. Flyers fuck, Flyers fuck, Flyers fuck off. Flyers fuck, Flyers fuck, Flyers fuck off.
And now for some special bonus material.
Fucking Mackenzie Blackwood. Fuck him.
Fuck. I mean, right? Very impressive.
Fuck him. It's like Kirk McLean in game 1 of the fucking Stanley Cup final.
Except it's been 3 games in a row.
Well, not against the Rangers.
And I think the 2 power plays they had in the third, I think they were doing what you said. They were just hammering pucks, but not getting them on net.
No, you guys blocked a shit ton of shots tonight too.
No, there was a couple. I think Zibanejad before the second to last one, he had a wide open net.
Oh, he missed it.
And he just sent it right over. Yeah. I think he was trying to I don't know if Blackwood was in their head and he was just trying to shoot it harder.
Well, look, it's kind of hard for a
to.
goalie to be in their head after you score 3 goals on him.
Yeah.
So I don't know necessarily that it was in his head. It's just he had a fucking great night. There's nothing you can do about it. You just have to fucking shake your head and go on to the next game. But it was the third period wasn't the story of the game. It was the beginning. You know, Rangers
the first 15.
If the Rangers don't let Pat Sajak score so early, then who knows? A completely different game. Completely different game.
The first 12 to 15 were all Devils.
Yeah.
And then it settled down a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I thought in the second period the Rangers had a really big lull where they let things happen. I mean, Trouba, you can't go toward the net with that pet. You got to go up the boards and get it deep. You try to go to the net, Hughes is blocking it, and he's gone. No one's going to touch him. Trouba had a shit first 2 periods. He came back a little bit in the third period, but he had a shit game in the first 2 periods after playing so well in game 2. That's how it goes. God bless you.
So it was fun, like, to see them play a different team after seeing Boston twice. It was fun to see them play a different team.
Right. After playing the Islanders twice.
Right. Did you not know what to expect coming in tonight because of that?
Yes.
Because you'd only seen them play the same team twice.
Yeah. And they were
weird.
completely different games. So I didn't know what team was going to show up. But I knew that they
same
played
boat.
well because they didn't have to really deal with the size of the Devils. They just had to deal with speed, which they got an understanding about teams that play with speed. Hopefully they chalk it up to learning experiences. But if Mika's hurt, it's going to be a long season.
Yeah, he didn't look good on the bench, man.
No, he did not. It looked like he separated his shoulder or like broke.
Not only pain, it almost seemed like he didn't know where he was.
You think he looked a little dazed? Maybe
a little bit,
maybe a little concussed. But it looked like he was holding his shoulder, and when he was
the wind,
off,
the wind knocked out of him or something.
Yeah, but the way he was skating, he was.
Yeah,
I don't know. We'll see. They're probably not gonna tell you fucking anything anyway. So whatever,
man.
Never, man. What are you watching, Bill?
Is there a late game, Bill?
No, they put on motorcycle shit. I never changed channel. Some kind of dirt bike stuff.
Oh yeah, it was on NBC Sports tonight, right?
Yeah, of course it was. It's a Penguins game.
Well, it's either the Penguins or the fucking Flyers.
It's the Penguins home network. What are you talking about?
That is true. That is true. Thursday's games on NBC or on the NHL network. Not that it matters. Well, for me, yeah, it matters for me. But I'm still not gonna watch it on there because I get the that'll be the Penguins home feed. So
Right.
no thanks. Scratch my back with a hacksaw. Crosby scores again. Yeah, that's what I want to hear.
Well, he's not a TV announcer.
They're gonna miraculously pick up the radio feed for the NBC sports broadcast. They're trying something new.
Just to piss me off.
Why would you have you ever had the compulsion to send a picture of your dick to anybody?
No.
Once.
Well, to Billy, but other than that, no.
I mean,
On a couple of occasions.
Actually, when somebody asks for a picture of my dick, I actually send a picture of Tom.
I don't know. I don't get it.
You've never sent a dick pic?
No.
I don't think I have either.
Guess
I'm
I've
too old
never
for that shit, man.
I've never
But
thought highly of myself enough to think that would turn anybody on.
But I don't even think that's part of it.
there's
You
nothing
think this guy
interesting
just
about
thought
it.
he had a beautiful dick and he sent the
Yeah.
picture?
I think
You gotta have a lot of confidence in the way it looks to really. I mean, it's not it's not like people. I don't think women are like really want to see that shit.
No, it's not a pretty organ, that's for sure.
No.
Some do, but most don't. Some like nothing more than a cock in their mouth.
Sure.
But that's different than a picture of it, though.
Yeah,
No, I know, but you're looking at it going, wow, that's a nice dick.
Best case scenario, I guess that's what you're saying. Sure.
She didn't respond to 60 texts in a row, but just send a picture of your dick. Oh, that's the one she's going to reply to.
Is that really what happened?
Yes.
Oh my God. Only the Mets.
And now he's just he goes from GM to like he's unemployable.
Yeah. GM that just traded for Lindor. Fucking
Right. He was riding high.
And then here's my dick.
But, like, none of their major hires make it to the start of the season. It's bizarre.
That's what
Right.
they do.
Who's going to replace him? A-Rod?
Sandy Alderson.
Brett Favre?
He said he's in no rush to find a new GM.
Do you blame him?
No.
Now part of that process is, have you ever sent a dick pic?
Absolutely. I
That's-
think the
that's gonna be
question
part of the
was
hiring
asked.
process is that they have to send a dick pic.
I think the question was asked, then he lied.
You think that's what happened?
I thought I read somewhere that he was asked, have you ever sent an illicit picture unwantedly to a female?
Really?
And he said, no. Sure, you got to ask that question.
It's a very specific question. I can't believe that we're in a place where we have to ask that question in society.
Yeah, it is pretty fucking stupid. But after Brett Favre and Wiener, I guess it's a thing.
Mina.
Could be worse. You could be fucking Joe Namath on fucking TV, all drunk.
All drunk and
guess,
fucking.
dude.
That was the best. That was the best.
Oh my
I
God.
want to kiss you on the mouth.
It's fucking Susie Coburn.
Yeah.
Ugh.
It's not
He's
even
like,
like it was Erica
like-
Wachter.
was he like 70 at the time?
Oh yeah,
I mean, you know.
That was 13 years ago?
the Joe
At
Namath thing.
least, yeah.
Yes.
Sure, it was when they were good.
I believe everything that anyone else has watched play.
He's talking about Chad Pennington.
The same thing impresses them.
What does it mean to you now when the team is struggling?
Oh, they kiss you. I couldn't care less about the team struggling.
I couldn't care about the team. Good Lord.
How fucking shit-faced was he? Oh man.
He's alive and Tom Seaver is dead. What the fuck?
That's what we get.
It was
what we get.
unintelligible what he was
Oh,
saying.
God.
Oh,
I could care less.
If you can find a way
Oh.
to fit this in somewhere, this conversation, I think this needs to be in the podcast somewhere. If you can find a way to sort of fit this in.
It's our podcast. We make the rules, don't we?
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know. I got to pass it by management.
Fuck that. I want to kiss you. Don't forget, Billy, Twitter on the shitter.